Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Japanese Grand Prix. I'm your host for today's session. My name's Evan. It's a pleasure to have you all here. Hope you're all doing well. We are 30 minutes away from the start of the formation lap. And I have some exciting news. The first time since the final round of the 2016 Formula One season, it looks like we're going to get six we're going to get 20 since the last round of the 2016 season, we're going to get 22 race starters. Because we were meant to over the past two rounds, but we've had collectively six DNS, six DNSs, with, of course, Piastri and Hulkenberg in Australia, and then Piastri, Norris, Albon, and Bortoletto in China. But for the minute, it looks like everyone is at least getting out for the laps, for the installation laps. Oscar, keep it out of the wall this time, and we'll be all good to go. Also, seeing here a visual of the tyre strategies. It looks like it should be a one-stop. Those starting on the soft compound tyres will be pitting some time from lap 13 to 19, and those starting on the medium tyres will be going from lap 15 to 29. It looks like starting on the soft or mediums is the best play. You could start on the hards, and you'd look for a pit stop sometime around lap 27 to 32. Those, if anyone does go for a two-stop, that would probably only be if something goes like notably badly. Something would have to go pretty wrong. And I am just getting a notification here. The formation lap has been delayed by 10 minutes. Not that big of a deal. I understand that there was a Porsche crash earlier on. I haven't seen it. I won't put my opinion on it out there, but I've been informed that there was a Porsche Carrera Cup crash. So I would imagine it's just something as simple as they need to clean some stuff, and we should be ready to go at 10 past 10 past 2 local time. Morning, it's good to see it's morning for some people. It's a lovely afternoon for me. It'll be the last time I get to watch an F1 race in the afternoon for the rest of the season, because even the slightly more favorable times are still at like evening. I believe Las Vegas is 6 p.m. my time on the Sunday, so that's quite nice. Just looking in the pit lane here. Oscar's currently sat stationary, but not really lined up with where he's meant to be. Don't. It's got to be. He's short. Hang on, let me unmute the stream. Okay, we're all good. Nothing to get panicked by, but I did panic for just a minute. When did the crash happen? I don't know exactly when, but I trust it happened before. Oh yeah, I'm looking. Hang on, those pound? No, I was just looking there into. I think it's happened at turn one because I can see what looks like some new skid from some fresh skid marks. Here we go. Thank you, Still a Fossil, for some confirmation. Practice. Brake failure at high speed. Car bounced, went into and over tires partially through the catch fence. Goodness me. Well, thank you for the clarification. That would, in fact, explain why the formation lap has been delayed by 10 minutes. Any big twists in the recon laps? So far, not yet. We're all looking pretty safe and sound. No one's pulled over anywhere. No one's an Oscar Piastri. We should be all good to go, trusting that everyone lines up on the grid in the right spots. Of course, because we still have a fair bit of time. If you do have any questions, you were talking about McLaughlin's crash in IndyCar. Sorry, yes. But the GT crash was similar. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yes. For those curious about the Scott McLaughlin crash in IndyCar, which I did watch that one, I'm a little bit more invested in that than Porsche Carrera Cup racing. Not that I have anything against Porsche Carrera Cup racing, but I follow IndyCar a bit closer. Basically, what happened is he into the first corner at the Alabama circuit that I've blanked on the name of. He got on the dirt a little bit into turn one on the entrance, which meant when he turned, he got massive. We just stepped out on him, and he went backwards into the wall and basically slid like almost Harbour Motorsport Park. Thank you for picking up for my inability to remember circuit names. Basically, the back of his car slid underneath the catch fencing as it bounced along the gravel a bit. It didn't lose much speed and basically just slid the the uh the like fencing bit and hit into the wall and that mutilated some poor unfortunate bush. Uh, but he's all right. He said was completely fine and he had a decent qualifying from memory. I think he made it into the fast 12. I don't think he made it fast 6 though. I could be also completely wrong. I wasn't paying that much attention. I was more getting excited about David Malukas starting P2 and Graham Rahal managing P3. But I'll keep it to Formula One because I trust that's why you're all here. People don't tend to watch Formula One streams to learn about IndyCar. Why was the formation lap delayed? The formation lap was delayed due to repairs required after a Porsche Carrera Cup crash that happened not too long for the session or before drive. I don't know exactly. Hang on. No, we're all good. Also, just going to let you all know that we do not have any pit lane starters, which means the starting grid lines up with how qualifying went, which is very nice for us, and no one got any penalties. We might as well go over how qualifying went now. So out in Q1, we've of course 6 cars out in Q1. We had Lance Stroll, Fernando Alonso, Valtteri Bottas, Sergio Perez, Oliver Behrman, and Alex Albon going from 22nd to 17th. Well, most of that's expected, except for, of course, Ollie Behrman, currently P5 in the championship. You would have been expecting something a bit better than that, and I wouldn't blame him really. He's been very good. I think he had an issue. I don't think this was just his pace evaporated. I think, or he spent most of the weekend around on Ocon's pace, often maybe a little bit further ahead of Ocon. So we will see how that goes. I would imagine with a Ferrari in the back of that engine, he'll be able to make up some positions off the line. Then out in Q2, Carlos Sainz, Franco Colapinto, Liam Lawson, Nico Hulkenberg, Esteban Ocon, and Max Verstappen. There's a bit more to discuss here. Of course, Carlos Sainz made it through to Q2, primarily because of the fact that we had Behrman going out in Q1, which kind of gave the opportunity. And of course, Max Verstappen out in Q2, like genuinely just on pace. I must say, it's funny. I'm looking at the times now. The time that Verstappen set Q in Q2 was faster than Lindblad and Bortoletto's Q3 times. But of course, Bortoletto and Lindblad set faster Q2 times, which is unfortunate for them because I mean, I wouldn't have necessarily said it had seen them further up the grid. It probably would have still seen them P9, P10, as Hadjar was 2/10, no, sorry, 3/10 up the road from Bortoletto. Um, so that's rough for Verstappen. Really unfortunate. He'll be hoping to get a decent start so he can try to make up positions from where he is, as I think points are what he'll be looking for. And finally, our top 10. Arvid Lindblad, Gabriel Bortoletto, Isaac Hadjar, Pierre Gasly, Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, George Russell, and Kimi Antonelli. Once again, a very impressive pole position from Kimi Antonelli, as also just seeing His car getting wheeled down the pit lane on the jacks. It's looking all good. No issues so far for anyone. Yes, everyone has made it to the grid. That is a first. That didn't happen in Australia and it did not happen in China. So this is the first time we've gotten we've got 22 cars on the grid. This is crazy stuff. Um Looking further down, of course, Oscar, best qualifying of the season. Charles Leclerc continues his streak of qualifying P4 for Grand Prix this season, being P4 in Australia and China. Piastri he decided not worth starting a Grand Prix unless you're on at least the second row, so that's why I didn't start in Australia and China, I promise. That's not me coping. Norris and Hamilton lining up behind their teammates. Norris, of course, having a shocker of a weekend. The fact he's managed P5 is very, very impressive. And it was nearly P4 if it weren't for the fact that Charles still managed to scrape a respectable time despite a pretty sizable mistake on his qualifying lap. Pierre Gasly once again reminding us that he's the GOAT in P7. Isaac Hadjar saving face for the Red Bulls in P8, and Bortoletto and Lindblad on the fifth row of the grid. Lindblad being the driver to pip Verstappen to getting into Q3. So that's considering Lindblad missed all of FP2 and has easily the lowest mileage around this circuit of anyone here on this grid. It's very impressive. Um, just seeing here, um, uh, actually, that does remind me. I don't know if everyone's seen this, so I'll fill you in. Adjar and Norris, I don't know the exact bits because I don't know how a Formula One engine works perfectly. Hadjar and Norris are on the final battery components, or some of the components of their battery. Um, so that means that I wouldn't say it'd be long until we start seeing penalties popping up, like grid penalties, 10-place grid penalties, for drivers like Norris and Hadjar. Because Hadjar, the thing that blew up in Australia, that was a 1 of 2 thing. So he's on his second now. And Norris, thing that stopped him from starting in China is also the issue he had in one of the practice sessions. So he's now on his third version of that, and you only get 3. So that's really, really bad for Norris. And I know he said that he thinks they could turn over the championship deficit. If he's getting grid penalties, but he's starting on pole, it's like, yeah, it kind of falls short. We'll say falls short. Um, will Aston Martin finish the race? Probably not. I'm gonna be blunt. I wouldn't bet on it. Uh, just seeing here, all the cars are looking good. Is Max car okay now? It's still slow, but I think it starts. Everyone so far has made it out to the grid to line up, so that is good news to see. I would love to see Max do some Indy circuits in IndyCar so we don't have to repeat Alex Blow 1 again for the rest of our lives. Well, Max, he gave a list of racing series he does and doesn't want to participate in. IndyCar and NASCAR were big no's. He's not interested in those. Endurance Championship, he said he was interested in. V8 Supercars in Australia, he was interested in. So you best believe I'm going to go watch that Bathurst race. It is 100% worth going to watch that. I'll be fighting for my life to get a ticket. If not, I'll watch it when he comes to my home state or race at Simmons Plains, which would be very, very exciting. And I think I think it was the European Touring Car Championship was the other one he said he was interested in. So I don't think we'll see Max ever sat. We might do like a test in an IndyCar just for the sake of doing it, but I wouldn't bet on that happening. I wouldn't bet on him doing like an IndyCar season. That's just not happening. Does the Saints have any hope of getting into the top 5? very kindly, no. Carlos Sainz is not getting a top five. If he does get a top five, it's going to be in the last half of the season. And that's no hate to Sainz. That's just saying the Williams is slow as all hell. Along to the race starts, please. The race starts in, if I can do maths, 35 minutes. 35 minutes? 25 minutes. I can't do maths. It's one of those two. I think 35 minutes. 35 minutes until race start. Because, I don't know. Oh, it is 25. It is 25. Goodness me, I'm terrible at maths. 25 minutes until race start because the formation lap has been delayed by 10 minutes due to a crash that occurred in a Porsche Carrera Cup race just before was this one of the support races that we have here at the Suzuka circuit. Of course, if you have any questions you'd like to ask me in that 25 minutes, for you. It's not like I have anything else to do currently. Time to get on the bike and get to the pub. I would love to hear that someone's watching us from a pub. That sounds like a lot of fun. I think commentating from a pub would be fun, but I fear the noise would be a bit bad. Max said he would definitely not do ovals, but Suzuka is more like Barber Motorsport Park. Yeah. Honestly, they are fairly similar circuits to some extent. Yes, bingo card. Thank you for the reminder, John. Racing statistics. If you have not filled out our bingo card, I would highly recommend it because the bingo competition is getting pretty heated. I've started making adjustments post quali, despite the fact that I said I was never going to. So you do have a bit of time before the start of the Grand Prix to put in some predictions. Of course, get some hot takes in there, get some safe points in there because you don't want to score nothing. That's going to make you look a bit stupid. So get in there, make your predictions. Fucking Max bit the dummy today, 3 meters. We'll see. Let's see if he can actually get off the line, because he failed that both times in China. We've had had 3 race starts, and he is 2 for 3. A bad race start, and which people have been talking about how bad Antonelli's starts have been. They're both 2-1 in favor of bad race starts. They really have to get their act. Max Lavicari doesn't want to be there either. Yes, but I highly doubt he'd go race an IndyCar. If he gets sick of this, he's gonna steal someone's WEC seat, or he's gonna buy a wet car and build a team. That'd be fun. I'd cheer for Verstappen racing in the World Endurance Championship. I think that would be rather entertaining. When does the race start? The race start will be at 10 past 2, I think it is local time. It'll be 10 past whatever your time is, because it is 10 minutes later after a crash we had in a Porsche Cup series before the formation. Before the reconnaissance lap. Because of course, very few F1 weekends is it only F1 racing there. Usually we'll either have F1, also F2, F3, or F1 Academy, and we'll also have other stuff like Porsche Cup races. Would Hamilton be on pole if he was in his old car like Antonelli is? I don't think so. I don't think I don't think that's I'm trying to think how to put it. Don't think it's I think the reason that Mercedes has turned out so well is because of the fact Lewis left. It was just they were so stuck in where they were. They needed to separate themselves. It just wasn't working. And didn't work at Ferrari for a minute, but it's clearly working now. So I think the reason that both Lewis and Mercedes are doing well is because of the fact that they have it's because of the fact that they have separated themselves. Do you know much about the FIA investigation into the Mercedes aero modes? Yes, I do. So, those curious what that's about, there was an issue with the Mercedes aeros, and the concern was the Mercedes aero wasn't. The concern was the. I'm blanking. The concern was that the air. I think I get it. The front aero was taking too long to shut in relation to the rear wing, and the and because of how long the rear wing was taking to shut, that was illegal. But the reason it was taking so long to shut is because of an issue. It wasn't designed to do that. It was, I think it was because it's hydraulically closed, their front wing. I know they're not all hydraulically closed. I think some people were using electronics, but the F, but Mercedes have got hydraulic power shutting their front wing, and the front wing, oh, they had some hydraulic issue that meant that it literally wasn't strong enough to shut the wing with the levels of downforce it was experiencing, which meant as the wind was blowing on the front wing, it was taking as the wind was pushing down on the front wing, it was taking even longer to get it facing upwards. So that's why the issue was there. It was not intentional. There is no concern. 18 minutes left. Get excited. I'm hoping this will be a fun Grand Prix, hopefully better than last year's, which was a bit of a snooze fest, which was terribly unfortunate. We didn't want that. For those who are interested in this sort of thing, the cast of the Super Mario Galaxy movie are at the F1 track this weekend, which is rather funny. There was a bit done by Jack Black, which it's a good laugh. It's a good laugh. He does that standard Jack Black over dramatizes it all, but I promise you, he comes. He does seem like he's a very real person, but he put that caricature on, and it was quite funny. So I trust it'll be posted somewhere, and I would recommend you go have a watch of that. Of course, you are watching with the Racing Statistics YouTube channel. If you have not already given a like to the YouTube stream, I would recommend you do so. Show us that you love us, and do subscribe if you are enjoying the stream, and you'll be notified of all of the broadcasts that we do across the rest of the season. Lindblad up 2-1 on Lawson in head-to-head quali. Thank you for that stat. I've I've been goodness me, voice crack. I've been noticing that across the grid, the qualifying head-to-heads this season have nearly all been in favor of the younger driver. So let's go through the team. Make sure I don't forget anyone. We'll go quickly. Make sure I don't forget a team because that would be a bit embarrassing and someone would probably get annoyed at me. So Mercedes, Antonelli is up 2-1 in qualifying. Ferrari, Charles is up 2-1 in qualifying. McLaren, Oscar is up 3-0 in qualifying. Haas, Behrman is up, I think, 2-1. I might be wrong. Red Bull, Hajar's up 2-1. Racing Bulls, Lindblad's up 2-1. Alpine, Gasly's up 3-0, so that's one of the exceptions. Williams, I don't know. At the back of the grid, who knows? Audi, Bortoletto is up, I think, 2-1. Cadillac, I don't know off the top of my head, and it's definitely not the case with Aston Martin Alonso. I'm fairly certain it's up 3-0. Uh, no, it's incorrect. Lawson's up 3-1. We're talking about Grand Prix qualifying. It gets a bit complicated if you include sprint race qualifying. And sprint race qualifying is so different. I mean, to put it into perspective, George Russell's pole time for the sprint or his sprint pole was better than his sprint pole was good enough for Grand Prix pole if it's at the same time. So, and it's such a different session where you can't really compare it. So it's not included. So we are now just under 15 minutes out. Hill, is the Porsche driver okay after the crash? I believe so. I don't know loads about what happened. I haven't even seen a replay of it. But from my understanding, he is, or he or she, I don't know. I won't, it's not my business. From my understanding, is all okay. Uh, keep the questions coming in if you're curious as to what is happening. I can keep you all updated. I will also let you know when the formation lap starts. I will have to sync myself up with the YouTube stream because, of course, the YouTube stream and the live pictures I see are synced up. The live picture is a bit further ahead, so I will have to take a second to sync myself up to give you all the most accurate commentary that I can give you. As confirmation, we are 13 minutes out, so get excited. If you haven't gotten the popcorn already, I would recommend you do so now. I heard several teams were overweight. Yes, I'm going to try to remember them all. I believe it was Williams, of course, are the most overweight. Red Bull, Racing Bulls, uh, Aston Martin. They're kind of the main ones who are 15 kilos and up overweight. Of course, I promise you, weight is barely Aston Martin's problems. But yeah, that's how it is for the minute. It is odd that Max would say that he doesn't want to do IndyCar. No. The reason he said he doesn't want to do IndyCar is because he has no interests in doing ovals. He thinks, I think what he said was it was his exact phrasing was it is unnecessarily dangerous. And I mean, it's very safe, so he's a slight overreaction. But if he's not interested in doing oval racing, it would be unnecessary to force him to do oval racing. Keep him to his Grand Prix racing and his endurance racing because he seems to at least be pretty good at that. And that's the thing. If he's not interested, he probably won't be particularly good at it either. So we'll keep him doing what he's good at. What's the optimal tyre strategy and what tyres each driver starting on? We do not know what tyres drivers are starting on yet. We will not know that until the formation lap. We'll double check, just make sure. No, we cannot see that yet. However, the primary tyre strategies are those two ones you can see just below the clock on the stream. You see it's where it says 11 minutes and 40 seconds left, for me at least. It shows a medium tire to hard tire strategy and a soft to hard strategy. So really, it just depends on what you think will work best. Do you think the hards will last for long enough to be able to get to the end of the Grand Prix if you start earlier on the softs, or if you start on the softs and pit earlier as a byproduct? And of course, if you don't, then you go with the mediums. However, of course, if you're a Max, for example, I would imagine Max will probably start on the softs. Behrman will basically everyone who's out of position will probably be starting on the soft tires. Who won the sprint in MotoGP? Jorge Martin won the sprint and now leads the championship. And for those who haven't seen, it's posted on the MotoGP Instagram page, so you can find a clip of it. He was doing a celebratory wheelie on his in lap, which was allowed to do that. However, he lost control and fell off the bike. Or I think he realized he was losing control, kept trying to avoid the inevitable, and then when he brought his front wheel back down, it basically just snatched. And as he tried to slow down as he was headed down the back straight in Kota, and it stepped out on him. So that was quite funny to watch. When Mac says it's dangerous, I think it means how close the racing overalls and how easy it is to make mistakes that could end up causing injuries to others. Yeah, I could probably see that being the case, Mark. That's a fair take. Of course, I don't know the specifics of it. It's been a while since I looked over what he said. Yes, we are now 9 minutes out from the start of the Japanese Grand Prix, or at least the formation lap for the Japanese Grand Prix. Hopefully, it will turn out well. You're talking about MotoGP? Yeah, when I'm mentioning someone called Jorge Martin, I'd probably be referring to MotoGP because I don't think that's the name of any of our current Formula One drivers. But yes, and he's also leading the championship now. Hybrid power units recharging on KERS kills F1 racing. No, I would agree. But for those who aren't aware of this story, F1 intentionally hid, or like you know how they post on their YouTube channel the onboard lap or the onboard of the pole position lap. They are trying to make it seem like Antonelli's onboard stopped working through as he approached 130R to avoid them seeing how much he super clips, which is hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious because everyone knows that the super clipping's bad. So I don't know why they're still trying to hide it. But yes, the result is that we do not get the onboard in that video. However, it's not hard to find the onboard. People have found the onboard because it you can watch it. You can watch it on certain. Like I'm fairly certain you can watch it on F1 TV. So yeah, they're just trying to hide it, and it's a bit sad. So I think the fact that they're not even willing to admit it is a bit concerning. What's the start delay? The start delay is because of a crash that happened in Porsche Carrera Cup before things got underway for F1. So it's only a 10-minute delay, so it's not too bad. And from my understanding, the driver that was in the incident is all okay. Mercedes will dominate every race this season. I think it'll improve. I've put my money on the fact that I think McLaren and Ferrari will at least get one race win each. Uh, will it be more than one race win each? Probably not. Mercedes are very quick. Really, it'll just come to how much is that engine actually giving them the advantage. At which stage it'll basically mean they'll dominate every race up to Monaco. I've said why the start is delayed. The start is delayed because of the fact that there was a crash in a Porsche Carrera Cup race, which damaged the walls, and they need to repair them. Please stop asking me. I've seen you in chat already. You should have been listening. But anyways, it is a pleasure to have you all here. Looking at the poll of who will lead the Drivers' Championship after the race, Antonelli is winning at 50%, then Russell, Hamilton, and then Leclerc. I don't know why you're all convinced that Hamilton is more likely to lead the championship than Leclerc. That's a bit of an odd opinion to have, but I shan't judge. That's not my job. Was it an F2 crash? There is not any F2 here this weekend. It was Porsche Carrera Cup. Porsche. Porsche. That's why there is a delay. From my understanding, everyone is all right. So we should be good to go. How crazy would it be if Kimi won the World Drivers' Championship and not Russell? It would be pretty crazy, and I would be a little bit sad. Just looking here, I'm trusting. Okay, nobody is starting on the soft compound tires. Everyone is starting on the mediums, except for Valtteri Bottas. He's out there starting on the hard compound tires. So the strategy early on won't be too crazy. Jack Black's intro to Suzuki is utter garbage, but it's kind of funny. If you just ignore the fact that it's garbage, you can laugh at it, and it's funny. Is the race getting delayed? Yes, it was delayed by 10 minutes. It was meant to have started 6 minutes ago. I promise you, this is all like we've been across this. If 2026 is sorry, if 2026 Mercedes is Mercedes dominance, 2027 will finally be the year for the Tifosi. Ferrari are having a good year. You can't already be getting on the next year will be our year hype train. This year could still reasonably be your year, trusting that the engine change will impact Mercedes enough after the Monaco Grand Prix and onwards. Will Ferrari upgrades through the season make them competitive? They're already competitive. Like, they are the second fastest car. I mean, yeah, McLaren are starting to challenge them, but they are, I would still say they are definitely the fastest car. Um, yeah, I mean, Kimi dominated Russell at the moment. Kimi World Drivers' Champion. I mean, he's definitely making a declaration that he wants to win the championship. So, more power to him. Now then, let's get through the starting grid. This will be a quick fire blow. Lance Stroll starting P22 with Fernando Alonso starting P21. Aston Martin locking out the back row. And then another lockout row, Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez P20 and P19 in the Cadillacs. Oliver Behrman, a notably bad qualifying P18, and Alex Albon P17 with some issues down the straights. Carlos Sainz P16, not bad from him, and Franco Colapinto P15. He'll want to try to make up some positions and score points on top of what he did last weekend. Lawson P14, Hulkenberg P13. Hasn't been in Q3 since 2016. Esteban Ocon, P12. Max Verstappen, P11. One of his worst starting positions around Suzuka. Arvid Lindblad, P10. Impressive debut at Suzuka for the rookie. And Gabriel Bortoletto, P9. Hadjar, genuinely out-qualifying his teammate, P8. Gasly, P7. Again, brilliant performance from him. Hamilton, P6. And Norris, P5. Lining up behind their teammates exactly. Charles Leclerc P4 and Oscar Piastri, a season best P3, hoping to start this one. George Russell P2 and Antonelli back-to-back pole positions. We are just about to get underway. So I hope you're all as excited as I am. Just by fact, Merck will dominate this F1 era for 5 years. I wouldn't quite say that. Did I just hear Buemi? I don't think I mentioned Buemi. You might have heard it somewhere else. Don't make any jokes about that silly number. There's no need for it. Let's go, Kimmy. Let's go, Kimmy. Yes, I hope. I mean, honestly, I would love to see Oscar on the podium as an Oscar fan, but beyond that, I just want to watch good racing. I just want some good racing. We have not seen that at Suzuka for far too long. What time is the race in India? I don't know. The here, Her Imperial Highness of Japan is here to watch this race. Rather exciting. Good to see she cares about the sport. Kimi will lead the whole race. Okay. The live radio is brilliant. Oh, thank you. Thank you. That does mean a lot. 10:30 a.m. in India. Okay. Oscar needs podium points. He really does. As we're seeing everyone, all of the mechanics scamper off the grid and get ready for the formation lap. Now, there will be a bit of me having to sync myself up on the formation lap so I can make sure that I can give you some accurate commentary. As I see here, the clock trackside strikes 10 past 2, and the Mercedes of Kimi Antonelli rolls off the line. Looks like we will be getting everyone starting this Grand Prix. Very exciting stuff. I know it does not look like the dots are moving, but I promise you they're getting there. So from the looks of things, the expected strategies are either mediums to hards or hards to soft. So that's intriguing. They think the softs will last if you slap them on at the end of the race. I mean, it's possible. I wouldn't put it past. I mean, Bottas is going to have to work some miracles for that. to play out. Current fastest pit stop of anyone this season is Mercedes at a 2.17, which they achieved in Australia. If we can get an off-board shot, I can sync my stream up with the little dot that you're all looking at. Okay, I'm going to sync it up with Antonelli as he comes through the hairpin. If he could just hurry up and get to the hairpin. And there he is. Okay. Now I wait for the YouTube stream to get there and we can get going and the commentary will be all good. He turns in and we unpause. There we go. We are ready for this session. I'm looking forward to this session. I'm hoping it'll be absolutely brilliant. Now, of course, if my sync is particularly bad, someone do warn me and I will do the best to fix it. I'm not seeing anyone not having gotten off the line, so I think we should be right. If you want to support us further, hop on the Patreon, of course. It means the world to us, means we can keep doing all that we do here. It's not the easiest thing to do, but we do our best. Formation lap, yes, the formation lap is underway. Antonelli is just entering sector 3 now. Merck and McLaren race today. I mean, Ferrari, who's saying that Ferrari won't lead into the first corner? No Ferrari podiums. My prediction is Antonelli, Russell, Piastri as the podium. I managed to predict the top 6 for qualifying. Now, let's see if I can't predict the top 3 for the Grand Prix. Who do you think is going to be the winner? Mercedes, Kimi Antonelli. More like McLaren v Ferrari. Mercedes will zoom away if none get ahead at the start. We'll see. We'll see. All right. I can see Antonelli now is on the main straight. They'll be lining up in their grid boxes soon. Predictions are that Antonelli will lead the championship come roughly 2 hours on from where we currently are. Getting Yuki to notice that in the garage. Wishing he could be out there in one of those cars. Honestly, he might not be. Those cars are questionable levels of fun to drive. Bottas is being wise. Well, considering there's probably going to be a virtual safety car or a safety car early on because of an Aston Martin, I would never start on a hard compound tire. I don't think that would ever be a good idea anymore. All right, then. Let's see how this race start goes. We've got Lance Stroll very slowly pottering through the final sweeping right-hander towards his grid box. Fernando doing some nice burnout. Honestly, for the fans at this stage, it probably doesn't matter if his tires are cold. Dare I say it won't control where he finishes. The marshal walks out. There is a green flag at the back of the field. This is where about 300 likes. Very exciting. Let's hope this race is a damn good one. They start revving their engines. 5 lights are on. And the Japanese Grand Prix is underway. Let's have a look at the starts. All the McLarens. Oscar's got a brilliant start. Oscar Piastri. Antonelli's got bogged down massively. Oscar Piastri leads into the first corner with Charles Leclerc following along. George Russell's P3. Lando Norris is going for the move around the outside. Has Lando Norris jumped George Russell? Yes, he has. Oscar Piastri leads. Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris. Then George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, and Andrea Kimi. Antonelli has had a horrendous start. Looking across the rest of the field, Pierre Gasly's looking good. Verstappen's had a great start. Hadjar's still looking good behind Pierre Gasly. I think Verstappen, yes, has made his way up into the points. I think Gabriel Bortoledo's had a rough start. I'm not seeing him in the bottom of the points. Looking across the field, has anyone had a notably horrendous start? Not other than Kimi Antonelli, not really. Oscar Piastri leads the Japanese Grand Prix. First Grand Prix lap, why not do it in the lead, ladies and gentlemen? I see one of the Cadillacs has dropped back to the back of the field. There's all Haas there over Esteban. Ocon's looking for a move on Max Verstappen. Can he get the move done? Not quite. Of course, the Haas is looking very racy, so that is for genuine position. Looking across the field, any crazy Bortoletto's down to 13th. Hulkenberg's down to 19th from 13th. Again, the Audi is struggling off the line. I believe they have the largest turbo of anyone. That would likely explain their poor start. But wow, a terrible start from Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Lindblad is up to 9th. Verstappen is up to 10th. Let's see. Antonelli's already going for the move on Lewis Hamilton. He's swept past. As further down, Lindblad's moved up to 8th past Hadjar. That was a very easy move for Kimi Antonelli, who's desperately trying to work his way back up the order. As Bottas is down 2 positions, Antonelli's down 4, Russell's down 2, Bortoletto's down 4, and Hulkenberg's down 6. Behrman's worked his way up to 15th off the start. That's not too shabby from him. He wants to keep fighting his way through to try to do as well as possible this weekend to try to hold on to that midfield fight that he's currently leading. Oscar Piastri's got a fairly comfortable lead so far, but from Leclerc to Antonelli, it is all very, very close. Piastri leads by 1.6 seconds. All about to get very dicey in that just off the back of the front runners. As I see the two Red Bulls are very close to each other. Yes, I believe. Oh, hang on, their helmets look too similar. Verstappen goes for the move through approaching Spoon, and he gets it done. Verstappen is up to P9. Hadjar has dropped to P10 from starting P8 on the grid. Bortoletto further down the order now gets a move done on Lawson. Ocon is now on the rear of Hadjar. Hadjar's at risk of dropping completely out of the points. Ocon sweeps up towards... Oh, he can't do it into 130R. Looking further down the order, Lawson doesn't hesitate. He dives before they're even in 130R. Look at the battle between the Red Bulls. They're still going at it. Hadjar gets a move back done on Verstappen, but Verstappen fights back. Ocon's now on the rear of Hadjar. Hadjar's going to be massively compromised. He's going to be low on charge. Ocon isn't waiting for it. Ocon gets the move done. Ocon's now up into the points as Russell gets past Norris for P3. Russell has now made his way back into the podium positions as Oscar Piastri is now 1.7 seconds down the road. Franco Colapinto makes a move for P13 past Bortoletto, and Hulkenberg up to P18 past Sergio Perez. Once again, the Audi's really struggling at the start of these Grand Prix. As we look, Antonelli's now close to the rear of Lando Norris, so looks like both Mercedes are now going to get past Lando Norris in this Grand Prix. Oscar Piastri continues to march on upwards, 1.8 seconds down the road from Charles Leclerc now. However, Kimi Antonelli is going to want to try to get up there as quickly as he can. Ollie Behrman's now up to P14, past the Audi of Gabriel Bortoletto. Really bad start for both Audis, P15 and P18 on the road. Kimi Antonelli says fastest lap of the race, a 1:34.475. Not too shabby. Looking here, Leclerc down to Hamilton are all within a second of each other. Piastri, the gap massively closed up. It's 1.4 seconds now, but it doesn't look to be close enough for any possible moves. Keeping an eye on everything, Anthony might consider the move on Norris. Not quite yet as they go through Casio Triangle. We'll see whether he can get the run down to the line or whether Norris has saved enough battery to hold on to the position. Of course, Antonelli probably undoubtedly the favourite to win as George Russell now gets the move done on Charles Leclerc into the first corner. George Russell now up to P2 with the fastest lap yet at the end of that lap. George Russell is flying out there, now set to catch Oscar Piastri. He's 1.8 seconds off him. Let's see how he can close that gap. Or can Oscar Piastri, with the Mercedes engine, try to hold on to the race lead he has earned after what was a brilliant race start for him and his first race start of the season? Give me late start? No, not late start, just bad start. Yes. George Russell's lap of a 1:34.469. Very respectable for him. Looking across the field, things are slowly but surely starting to settle down. Verstappen is close to the rear of Lindblad. Antonelli's very close to the rear of Norris. Piastri out in front is holding on to that 1.8 second gap currently. So he's looking happy out there. So I imagine he will continue to try to hang onto that for as many laps as he can. There's no reason really that Piastri can't race with Russell. Their qualifying pace was very similar. I know his race pace wasn't quite as good. Notably, Gasly's managed to hold on to that P7. That's very respectable from him. Looking down, Antonelli closing on Norris. Will he go for the move into Casio? Oh, he thought about it, but he didn't go for it. Will he get the move done down into the first corner? Looking out ahead, Piastri's still got a comfortable lead, but Antonelli is very close to the rear of Piastri's teammate Lando Norris. He's closing, he's closing. Does he pull out to go for the move? No, he doesn't. They are line and stern for the minute. Looking further down the order, is anyone else going for a move into the first corner? Hulkenberg's close to the rear of Sainz. Verstappen's close to the rear of Lindblad. Well, Verstappen doesn't go for the move, and I don't believe Hulkenberg's going for it either. Lando Norris still managing to hold on to P4 from Kimi Antonelli, our pole sitter, who's dropped down to P5 off the line after a rough start. Look, the gap out in front is now 1.3 seconds. Charles Leclerc 1.5 seconds off George Russell by the end of the fifth lap. Oh, Lando Norris is under massive pressure from Antonelli. Will Antonelli consider it into the hairpin? Not quite. That is very, very close. Antonelli 0.4 seconds off as I see Verstappen goes to the move into the hairpin. Max Verstappen gets the move on Lindblad for P8. Max Verstappen, after starting P11, has now made it up to P8 as Lindblad drops to ninth. But we know Lindblad isn't going to get pushed over by a Red Bull that easily. He fought him in Australia, and I would imagine, considering he's got decent pace, that he'll try to fight Verstappen back. Verstappen 3 seconds off Pierre Gasly ahead. Having a look here, how's Lando Norris looking? 0.4 seconds is the gap as we approach the Casio triangle. Antonelli is definitely close enough for if you to give it a right push, you could possibly go for it into the first corner. It was a bit wiggly out of Casio, so I don't think he'll quite have it slap. George Russell's now nearly within a second of Oscar Piastri. Having a look here, Lando Norris getting a lot of help from Charles Leclerc by managing to hang on to the rear of him. I wonder if Charles Leclerc is just trying to help Lando hold Antonelli off. We're getting a replay at the start here. Let's have a look. Goodness me, Oscar's start was so much better. Having a look further down the order, yeah, the Audi just, Gabriel Bortoletti just dropping through the field. It was miserable for him. And Lando Norris, a very impressive move around the outside of the first corner to get the move done on it was Kimi Antonelli, I believe, or George Russell, sorry. Antonelli's reaction time was actually faster than Oscar Piastri's by 0.02 of a second, but it took Antonelli nearly a second longer to get up to 100 kilometers an hour. So that's rough for him. It also looks like he got a bit of wheel spin too, which wouldn't have helped either. Piastri did not hesitate to cut over to the inside. It's a bit concerning because clearly that indicates it isn't Mercedes engines because Piastri's didn't struggle at all. I'd say his start was on equal pace to Charles Leclerc's off the line. Everything is cooked. Yeah, everything is cooked. Getting some replays of early overtakes. Antonelli past Norris. Russell passed Norris. Antonelli's yet to get past. As we look further down, Antonelli probably not close enough again to get the move done on Lando Norris. They stay line of stern for the minute. Ocon, sorry, whilst we've been looking at those replays, has gotten past Arvid Lindblad. And Hajar is now looking to try to get past Arvid Lindblad. Racing Bull's looking decent, P10, P12. Bortoleto gets the move done on Behrman for P14. Further down the order, rough race for Gabriel Bortoleto starting P9, now P14. He'll be wanting to try to recover as quickly as he can. Hajar's pretty close to the rear of Lindblad. Looking further up at the lead, Oscar Piastri, the gap's now 0.7 seconds between him and George Russell. So Oscar's going to be under the pedal. He's going to have to drive a brilliant race this weekend if he wants to win, but it'll be a mighty race win if he does pull it off. Antonelli still hanging on to the rear of Norris, looking to try to get this move done as quickly as he can. So he doesn't lose out too much to his teammate, who will be fighting for the race lead any lap now. Apologies. Looking further down the order, Hajar still close to the rear of Lindblad. Antonelli 0.6 off. Oh, he's closed up massively now, approaching Casio. 0.4 now is the gap. Piastri's a bit under pressure. The gap's 0.3, 0.4 now. Looks like he should be all right. As we cross the line now, it's 0.5. How's Oscar Piastri looking? Will he be able to keep Russell behind him? Yes, he will. Should be all right through the S's. It's hard to get a move through there, and I don't think Russell's that much faster than Piastri. Gap is 0.5 seconds. Oscar Piastri really having to show what he's worth, and he's doing it tremendously. Both McLarens trying their best to hold off the faster Mercedes behind them. As strong as McLaren is looking this weekend, it definitely does not look like they are faster than the Mercedes. Of course, the big thing here, Oscar's start should help guarantee him at least a podium, because I doubt Charles Leclerc, who's 2 seconds off these leading drivers, will lose out. As you see further down the order, Stroll gets past Fernando Alonso. We are still yet to see any mechanical gremlins so far, which is brilliant news. Lewis Hamilton, 1.4 seconds off Kimi Antonelli. He's keeping loosely in touch with the battling trio of Leclerc, Norris, and Antonelli. Looking pretty good for the minute. Ajar still hanging on to the rear of Lindblad, trying to work his way back into the points. And Behrman's charge towards the points appears to have slowed a bit, stuck in P15 right now. Oscar's under attack. You best believe he is. Currently, the gap is 0.5 seconds. Mercedes gaining massively down, approaching Cassio triangle. Piastri, is he going to go defensive? He doesn't go for it. George Russell up the inside into Cassio, gets the move done on Oscar Piastri. Does Oscar have enough to come back at him? We'll see. The gap's 0.2 seconds. Oscar's looking for it. He's considering it. George goes defensive. Oscar's going for it. He's trying to take the lead back. Oscar Piastri takes the lead back into the first corner. He's not giving up quite that easily. Charles Leclerc is having to go defensive from Lando Norris, who's now closed up massively. This is a lot of moves being done by McLaren drivers. Lando doesn't get past. Antonelli's still staying in touch of the Ferrari of Leclerc and the McLaren of Norris. But Oscar Piastri, what strategy there from him? We're now getting to see what he's like in race trim in these 2026 cars. Playing the mind games, letting George past to make it seem easy, when in reality he was just recharging to get ready to zoom back past him down the main straight. Brilliant strategy from the McLaren driver. Here we've got a brand new member, Ken Meredith. Thank you for joining us. It means the world to us as we're watching this brilliant race. Replay here of how much George was gaining on Piastri through 130R. It looked easy, as it seemed only logical to go for the move up the inside. George Russell looked all right through there, as Oscar Piastri just steams back past him down the main straight. Oscar Piastri clearly had enough battery save there to hold him off. As we go through that part of the track again, the gap's 0.9 seconds. Oscar Piastri opening it up a little bit. That's impressive stuff from the Australian driver. Antonelli considering it on Lando into Cassio. The fight for the podium is heating up. Antonelli very close to the rear of Norris. Norris might be a bit low on battery after going for a move on Leclerc. Let's look further down the order. How's this going to look? Is Leclerc going to have to go defensive? Is Norris going to have to go defensive, or is it going to stay as it is? Antonelli has a little look into turn one, but he does not go for it. We stay. Charles Leclerc P3, Norris P4, and Antonelli P5. Looking further down the order, the gaps are stabilizing a bit. Gasly, Verstappen is actually struggling to hang on to Gasly. The gap's been opening up lap after lap there. And Ocon currently sat pretty happy in P9. Lindblad's under a bit of pressure, though, from Hajar. However, Hajar's not doing that move quickly. That's a bit concerning from him. Norris on the exit of the Degner, the gap's 4/10 behind him to Antonelli. Will Antonelli consider the move into the hairpin, or is he wise of it? He's wise of it. He waits until a better passing opportunity approaches him. The gaps between the leaders really, their pace is, I mean, you could argue that the Mercedes would be flying off if they were P1 and P2 right now, but they're not. Piastri's pace is only marginally faster than Leclerc's, and it's not faster than Russell's, but he's holding Russell off nicely. And Leclerc's pace isn't particularly much faster than Norris or Antonelli, and Hamilton's not far off them either, consistently being about 1.4, 1.5 seconds off. It's all pretty much stabilized, which is kind of what we want to see. We want to see the front runners staying as close to each other as they can. We're lap 10 now, and the gaps are still pretty close. George Russell 0.8 seconds from the lead. Antonelli considering maybe a move. No, he's too far off, 0.4 seconds. Norris actually closes up massively to Leclerc into the first corner. As you look further down, Hajar could be close enough to consider getting a move done into the first corner if he's got some battery to spare. He's closing up on Lindblad. Will he go for the move? He looks to the inside. He's not quite close enough, though. Lindblad doesn't go particularly defensive, but he manages to hang on to that final points paying position in P10. The gap out front is closing up again. It's sitting about 0.6, 0.7 seconds. And Norris is now dropping a little bit of time compared to Leclerc. He's a second off as they go through the hairpin, and Antonelli is only half a tenth off him. That could jeopardize Norris into the first corner if he's not careful. Continuing to keep a pulse on that gap out ahead. Piastri driving like there's no tomorrow. Doesn't matter that he hasn't done any Grand Prix laps so far, other than the 11 that he's now led. He is determined to hang on to it. As the gap is 0.7 seconds. We look further back. Antonelli's only 4/10. The gap's closing as we go through 130 yards. 3/10 now. 1/10. Surely Antonelli has to go for it, or Norris. He does. Antonelli up the inside into Cassio, gets the move done. Can Lando come back at him like Piastri came back at Russell? The gap's 5/10. Doesn't quite look like it. Antonelli's a 10th off Leclerc in front of him. The gap 6/10 behind him. Looks like that move's going to stick. Norris does close up a little bit, but not enough. As we look further back, Hajar's now insanely close to the rear. Lindblad, he's smelling his fumes at this state. Piastri's commenting front left has a narrow band of graining. He's a bit concerned about that front left, but he's still hanging on. His pace is looking all right. Hajar has a look into the first corner. Lindblad's wise of it. He defends. Hajar, again, still stuck in P11, trying to fight his way back up into the points. Piastri is still looking happy out the front. 0.6 seconds ahead of the Mercedes, both with the same power unit. So really, this is a fight of aero, and so far the Mercedes seems to be better. Looking further down the order, the gaps between Leclerc, Antonelli, and Norris have expanded to all being a second. Norris is actually dropping to Hamilton. Hamilton's only a second behind. Now, Hajar insanely close to Lindblad. Will Hajar consider going for the move into the hairpin? Or no, he's looking around the outside. Why aren't we getting a proper look at this? Why is it only a small box? Hajar, not quite. He had a look around the outside of the hairpin. You never go for a move there. Lindblad really seems to be struggling out here. Hajar considering around the outside of Spoon now. That would be ballsy if he goes through it. He doesn't quite. He lined up alongside him, but not quite. Surely he'll be able to get the move done into the Casio triangle this time. Look out ahead. 0.7 seconds now is the gap. Antonelli's managed to close up into a second of Charles Leclerc. As we look further down the order, Hajar again. He's closing, he's closing, he's closing. Can he dive up the inside? Or Lindblad defends late. Hajar swaps back out to the outside to try to find somewhere, anywhere. He can't quite do it. Does he have enough to go for it down the main straight? The gap, I can't see it because of the little TV picture. Lindblad is pulling out. Hajar does not have enough. Hajar's now having to go defensive on Lawson. Lawson's now really close to the back of him because of all that battling. That's also brought Colapinto and Bortoletto into the fight. That was a massive blunder from Hajar, not getting that move when he tried to. The gap out ahead, 0.9 seconds, and Antonelli now only 0.6 seconds off the rear of Charles Leclerc. Leclerc's going to have to fight pretty hard if he wants to get a podium finish today. Having a look now, the gap's actually a second between Piastri and Russell. The gaps are fluctuating a lot, of course, because of where cars are dominant in relation to others, but the gap seems to be sitting at around a second now. Antonelli and Leclerc having a look. Can Leclerc it as my stream lags? That's not what I want to see whatsoever. Looks like Antonelli is not quite close enough to go for the move. Having a look further down the order. No, sorry, no. Hajar gap. Lindblad is 0.6 seconds now, so it doesn't look like he'll be able to get the move. Leclerc is under pressure now from Antonelli. Antonelli's closing quickly. Leclerc goes defensive. It's all good. Antonelli doesn't go for the move. Only would have compromised Leclerc's exit speed there. Wow, okay, everything's lagging a little bit on my end. I'll try to make sure I'm still nicely synced up. In the meantime, Lawson. Oh, Lawson just dropped. Is Lawson? What's just happened to Lawson? What's just happened to Lawson? Why does it say he's a minute down now? What's just happened to Liam Lawson? Okay, I think his transponder's having an issue. Uh Not sure what that is from Lawson. Um okay, I'm still close enough to being live. The commentary shouldn't be too severely compromised. Yes, I'm not quite sure what's happening with Lawson currently, why it says he's P22. I do not believe he is. Yes, they've now closed the timing screen because of the fact they've acknowledged it's not working. Thank you. That makes my life particularly easy. Having a look here. Leclerc's under pressure from Antonelli. I can't immediately tell you the gap. It looks to be zero 0.3 seconds currently, the gap, or 0.5 now. 0.3 again. Leclerc's a bit cautious into Cassio. Antonelli doesn't go through. We're on lap 14 of 53. Oscar Piastri continues to lead. They've got the timing boards working. Lawson is still in P12. There's nothing to panic for the Kiwi fans. Nothing has been lost. Antonelli close to the rear of Leclerc. Leclerc's go defensive into the first corner. Doesn't quite go for it. Leclerc, the gap is 0.5 seconds. Russell, 1 second off Piastri. Piastri's still delivering brilliant pace currently. Piastri saying that he thinks he can win this Grand Prix. Oscar Piastri has set his sights on the Grand Prix win here in Suzuka. It would be massive for him, considering the massive points losses he's had across the first two races of the season. Hulkenberg finally has managed to get past Carlos Sainz for P16. Antonelli, 0.4 seconds off Charles Leclerc. He's going to try to get this done as soon as possible so he can go hunt down the teammate out in front who he believes he's faster than this weekend. So 1.3 seconds off Piastri. The gap's opening up now. Oscar Piastri's got the bit between his teeth and he's going for it. As we approach Spoon Curve, sorry, that is. Charles Leclerc and Kimi Antonelli. The gap's 5/10 now. Hadjar's now close back up to the rear of Lindblad as he looks into the hairpin. Oh, they're so close to contact. Lindblad's been shown a black and white flag for moving under braking. I'm not surprised about that one. Antonelli is getting very close to the rear of Charles Leclerc through 130R. He doesn't get it through 130R, but he gets it through Cassio. Antonelli up to P3 after that horrendous start he had. Can Charles Leclerc come back at him? They're 3/10. Oh, Antonelli's a massive snap through the final corner. That's going to give Charles Leclerc a massive advantage. Antonelli immediately goes defensive. Charles Leclerc is pulling back out, and Charles Leclerc gets the move done into the first corner. Charles Leclerc steals that podium back, and that brings Lando Norris back into play as Hadjar gets the move done around the outside of Cassio. Not quite. Oh, there's nearly contact between Lindblad and Hadjar. Hadjar's getting right sick of this one now. Hadjar's very close. Just seeing here, Oscar being asked about his thoughts of pitting early to try to get an undercut on Russell so he doesn't risk losing position in the pit lane. And he said he's not opposed to it. The gap is now 1.6 seconds out ahead. Russell is just dropping time to Piastri. And Lindblad is out there fighting like a bull. He doesn't care if it's the second team he's driving for. He doesn't care if that's the main team he's holding up. He's fighting. He's going all the way. We look for the gap between Antonelli and Leclerc. It's opened up to a second. He's going to have to try to reel him back in. And Leclerc, Antonelli, Norris, and Hamilton are all now within a second of each other. Gasly, 7.2 seconds back. And Verstappen, 3.9 seconds back. He started to close up a bit. Ocon, 8 seconds off. Lindblad, 4 seconds off. Hadjar desperately trying to get back past Lindblad. Hadjar's probably losing his mind in that cockpit, and I can hardly blame him. I'd be losing it too. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, all within a second. Norris is in. Lando Norris is pitting. That's massive. If the undercut is really strong, that could get him a lot of positions. That's going to trigger a lot of pit stops. Antonelli close to the rear of Leclerc. He doesn't quite go for it. We're on lap 17. We'll see what Norris's pit stop time was soon. Hadjar not quite close enough to Lindblad. Norris enters the pits. How's the pit stop looking? It was all right. Probably 2.5. Exactly 2.5. I actually called it before I saw it. I'm so good at this. I've watched enough pit stops in my time. Looking further down the order, Lawson's having issues again with his with his data. Behrman's also into the pits on this lap from the medium tyres. The only one out there on the hard compound tyres is Valtteri Bottas far down the grid. Let's see, will Lando Norris gain a lot? If the undercut is strong, Behrman's stop was a 4.3. That's rough. If the undercut is strong here, Norris could scrape back into a podium position, which will be massive for his race if he manages it. Gap between Piastri and Russell is now 1.8 seconds. The gap between Leclerc and Antonelli is 0.7 seconds. Looking further down the order, Norris is close to the rear of Ocon. He's going to want to try to pass Ocon as quickly as he can, of course, on the hard compound tyres. Leclerc's been called to pit. Leclerc clearly feeling the pressure. Antonelli's very close, though. They've got to hope that Antonelli doesn't dive up the inside of him and compromise his ability to enter the pit. Leclerc will be going into the pits. Does Antonelli follow him? No, he doesn't. Leclerc is into the pits. Let's see what that pit stop time is. Hopefully, it'll be at least respectable in comparison to Lando Norris. Lando Norris is approaching 130R now. Doesn't look like he's been held up by Ocon too much. But Ocon, yeah, it's not fighting it. Norris has passed Ocon. Let's see that pit stop from Ferrari. Let's see what the time was, if they'll show it to me. 2.1 seconds. That should be enough for Charles Leclerc. Yes, he comes out comfortably in front of Lando Norris. Looks like Norris may have been held up a bit behind Ocon. So that's very good news for him. Colapinto is into the pits this lap. Having a look, let's see what Colapinto's pit stop time is. The gap out ahead is 1.7 seconds now. Antonelli, Colapinto was 2.9 seconds. Antonelli will likely just push here for a couple of laps now that he's not stuck in traffic, which means he could actually pull off an overcut if he's wise about it. Looking here, Oscar Piastri, your race leader, completing his first Grand Prix laps of the season, 1.8 seconds up the road from George Russell, who's then 3.4 seconds up the road of Kimi Antonelli. None of those three are yet to pit. Those who have pitted who are in competitive positions, we've got Leclerc, Norris, and that's basically it. Colapinto and Behrman are the others who have pitted. Having a look here, does Piastri pit this time? Piastri is into the pits this lap. Your race leader, Oscar Piastri, is into the pit. Let's see, can McLaren bring a nice clean pit stop for their race leader? If this is rough, that's going to cost them a lot of time and could cost them this race win. This is a crucial pit stop for the McLaren team. Let's have a look at it. Into the pit he comes. Oscar's first pit stop of the season. How's it looking? It's looking respectable. Oscar Piastri out of the pits, 2.4. Only marginally faster than Lando's, but he's comfortably ahead of the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. Nothing to be worried about there. Let's see how these hard tyres do. Hopefully they hold up. George Russell has... Oh, we're looking here. Antonelli's just set the fastest lap of the race, or 34.0. 134.095. Lindblad's into the pits. Hadjar's now been set 3. If Antonelli and Leclerc are very close to each other, Antonelli's going to have to pit this lap to make sure that he doesn't get... We've got Lindblad, 4.8 seconds. That was a terrible stop for Albert Lindblad. That will likely compromise his points paying position. Piastri, let's see, is he close? If he's not too far off the rear of Verstappen. I hope Verstappen doesn't hold him up too much. Behrman gets part... Hang on, that's Behrman and Perez fighting for position, despite the fact that Behrman has pitted. That's going to be ruining what's already been a very rough race for Behrman. Piastri still leading those who've pitted. Antonelli may have managed to get an overcut on Charles Leclerc now after being set free. We'll see what happens from here. Antonelli through Casio. Is he entering the pit? Or will he go for a couple more laps? He's still going. Antonelli stretches out. We're on lap 20. Having a look. Piastri continue to close up to Verstappen. Hopefully he can get past in a clean spot that won't cost him too much time. Yes, I would imagine Hadjar will now be net in the points after that poor stop from Arvid Lindblad. I'm trusting that Hadjar's now not being held up. He'll likely be able to storm off a bit, put it kindly. George Russell, your current race leader, 2.4 seconds up the road from Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Esteban Ocon's being called to pit. I think I'm going to lose a lot of race time extending, says George Russell. Russell wants to come in as soon as possible. Hadjar's pitting too. Let's see what the times are from the Haas and Red Bull driver in the pits. Ocon's a 3.4. Zach Hadjai, if he can nail this pit stop, that'll be a points-paying position. It's not too shabby. It's a 2.8, but Lindblad's was notably slow. Let's see what it's like on pit exit. Just exiting. Does he manage to hang it out in front of Lindblad? It looks like he has. Covered Lindblad hangs on to position. So far, Oscar Piastri still seems like he'll come out clear ahead of George Russell. Oscar Piastri is now close to the rear of Max Verstappen, approaching Spoon Curve. He's going to hope that Verstappen doesn't hold him up too much, because the last thing Piastri needs is to lose time behind someone who hasn't pitted. We're headed down the straight now. Verstappen is having a pretty strong race considering where he started. We're seeing Antonelli is not pitting again. Piastri still closing up through 130R. Verstappen does go defensive. Oh, Verstappen squeezes Piastri. Does he know who he's fighting out there? Piastri is being held up massively by Max Verstappen. Max doesn't care if he's not fighting Piastri on the road. He's still going to go defensive. Piastri moves to the inside towards the straight. Verstappen doesn't fight it too hard. Piastri gets the move done down the main straight. Hopefully he didn't lose too much time. The last I saw, the gap between Piastri and Russell after pit stop should turn out to be about 2.6 seconds. Norris has now set the fastest lap of the race. So Antonelli is going to want to get in the pits as soon as possible in that case, because clearly they are losing out to those who have pitted pretty rapidly. Having a look here, Bortoletto is playing around in the points, trying to pretend like that's where he was after a terrible race start again for both Audis. Norris set a 1:33.771. That's pretty respectable pace-wise. He'll be wanting to try to keep that going. Having a look, Antonelli still closing up to the rear of George Russell. Slowly but surely. Having a look, Piastri is now closing on Gasly. We'll be hoping that Gasly doesn't hold him up too much. Russell's being called to pit. George Russell will be into the pits this lap. Antonelli, I imagine, will take over as the race leader. I doubt they will double stack when there is no need to. George Russell into the pits after leading the race after Oscar Piastri pitted. Let's see. Piastri shot was a 2.1 and Piastri was already out in front of him. Let's see what time George Russell does. He's yet to turn into his garage as Piastri's head through the Casio triangle now. They changed the tires. How's it looking? How's it looking? That was pretty good. That was pretty good. 3 seconds, though. I thought it looked a bit... I didn't think it looked quite that bad. Piastri comfortably out ahead. Seeing here, doesn't look like the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc is particularly close. Verstappen's very close. The yellow flag. Behrman. I think it's Behrman. Behrman's in the wall. Behrman's crashed. Oliver Behrman is out of the Grand Prix. Down way far. Oh, no. No. This could be terrible for Piastri. This means Antonelli will probably come out ahead of him. This is terrible news. That'll be a safety car. Safety car. George Russell's race has just fallen apart. He's pitted just before the safety car. It is on for Andrea Kimi Antonelli. He'll be straight into the pits this lap. That is terrible news for Oliver Behrman, for Oscar Piastri, for George Russell, for everyone who's pitted so far. It's through Spoon from the looks of things. He's just lost it. I'll yet to see a replay. But Antonelli, Hamilton, Gasly, Verstappen, Lawson, Bortoletto, Hülkenberg, Sainz, Albon will all be diving into the pits because Piastri is nowhere near close enough to make sure that he comes out ahead of Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Russell coming over the radio now, getting rather mad about the fact that he's just lost out so much time. As we see Perez, Stroll, and Alonso at the back of the field are into the pit, rather unsurprisingly. Taking the opportunity to get onto the hard tires. Hamilton will be in. Gasly will be in. Antonelli into the pit. Let's see what it looks like. Alonso's stop was a 4.3. The only way Antonelli will not come out in front of Piastri is if Antonelli's stop is massively compromised. Hamilton's into the pit. Gasly is into the pit. Antonelli's pit stop, let's see. It's looking all right. Wasn't the craziest 2.4, but it'll be good enough. Antonelli will hold on to the lead. That's terrible news. As Lewis Hamilton now comes out, his pit stop looked all right. Nothing crazy. 2 seconds, actually. That was the fastest of the session so far. Piastri manages to come out. Oh, it's very close between Russell and Hamilton. Looking further down the order, Gasly manages to hold on in relation to Verstappen. Oh, sorry, Verstappen's pitting. So of course he does. So the order is now, and looking at, Behrman's limping. Jesus, goodness me, Behrman's injured. Like, Behrman's hurt I think his ankle from the looks of things. Yeah, that's a massive knock. Goodness me. I'd imagine that's why they were waiting to show us the replays, because they didn't know how he was, like, how he was in terms of his well-being. Terrible news for Behrman. Sainz 3.5, Bortoletto 2.6. But yes, Behrman, our first crash of the weekend, or really of the season in Grand Prix. We see a replay here now of Behrman. He's headed up towards Spoon. What happened? He's closing on the Alpine. Oh my God, the Alpine forces him off. That was the Alpine. Oh my God, who was that? Was that Colapinto? Colapinto's just forced Behrman off the road. He hasn't looked in his mirrors. Colapinto hasn't looked in his mirrors at all. Behrman just slides off the track and goes straight into the wall. That's Franco Colapinto's got to get a penalty for that. That's ridiculous. That's insane. Yeah, Behrman's got injury to his right ankle from everything I can see. That's insane. What was Colapinto? He wasn't even looking in his mirrors. He was looking right. Ankle injury, isn't that a small one? Yeah, sure. Trusting hasn't broken his ankle. If luckily we've got a month off, but as trusting that it's not too serious, he should be able to recover in that time. Russell getting reasonably angry over the luck over the past two races. Really, Oscar Piastri finally genuinely, I would have said Oscar Piastri was going to win this Grand Prix if it weren't for that terribly timed safety car. He was driving brilliant out there on the hards, but now Antonelli's tipped him, and Antonelli, I imagine, trusting that well, actually, this isn't the first time that Piastri's followed Antonelli off a safety car restart. Goodness, right, Hulkenberg only pitting now. Goodness me, that was terrible strategy from Audi. He's going to lose out a lot of positions, I would imagine, because of that. I'd assume they just weren't confident about double stacking. Behrman's car is now being removed. We'll see where Hulkenberg comes out. Bortoletto's actually now into the points. He's now up to P10. Hadjar's down to P13, good lord. Ahead of Lindblad, yes. But yeah, I mean that's ridiculous from Colapinto. He just didn't look. He didn't look in his mirrors. And that's not even the first time. I think Austria last year, he forced Piastri off whilst being lapped. Imagine if Behrman was lapping him there. It's ridiculous. For those curious, so far, Antonelli, the championship standings, Antonelli will lead, Russell second, Hamilton third, and Leclerc fourth. Wow, the damage on the side of that car is massive. Pod is really knocked up, and the rear wing's taken a massive knock. I'm yet to actually get a clear replay of what happened. They cut the onboard before they actually showed us him hitting the wall. Well, I'd still say Piastri's on for a podium, but yeah, really very bad luck. There's currently a lapped Cadillac Bottas between Antonelli and Piastri. Of course, Bottas will be allowed to unlap himself before the safety car comes in, and will get on his way to trying to a half-decent race. For him to achieve really anything at this stage, it would require another safety car. How does Kimi deserve to win? Because he took pole position and is one of the fastest cars out there. That's why. I don't know what you're saying about Anthony not deserving to win this Grand Prix. Oscar's having a brilliant Grand Prix, and you can have more than one driver deserve to win a Grand Prix. Antonelli deserves to win this Grand Prix. Piastri deserves to win this Grand Prix. But yeah. Colapinto should see a penalty for that. Safety car for what? Oliver Behrman into the walls through Spoon Curve because Colapinto forced him onto the grass and he lost control. Not Behrman's fault at all. Behrman tried to go for a genuine move, tried to line up. Oh, it was around the outside of the sweeper approaching the spoon curve. Here's seeing a replay again. He goes through the hairpin. He's following He's following Colapinto up the hill. Colapinto, yeah, Behrman moves to the inside. Colapinto swerves across. Behrman suddenly has to swerve in response and goes straight into the wall at high speed. Still yet to actually show me a full replay of him hitting the wall. Because of the fact that they keep cutting away. So thank you, F1 TV, for actually showing that. Yeah, Behrman can barely walk. So his ankle is severely damaged. Yeah, Colapinto doesn't look into his mirrors until he's turning in for the corner. No consideration for what Behrman was, the possibility of Behrman being there. That's shameful from Colapinto. I'm going to be blunt. I don't care if you're a Colapinto fan and you're going to murk me for that. It was shameful. He didn't look in his mirrors. He should have been aware that there was a car catching him. Yeah, and now it's led to someone getting hurt because of his incompetence. I'm going to call it. It was his incompetence. Yeah. But terrible luck for Behrman. Already trying to fight his way up from a poor race. Yeah. I will genuinely be appalled if Colapinto doesn't get a penalty for that. Closing speed delta plus aggressive defense equals danger. Yep. And it was on Colapinto to be aware of the fact that Behrman was catching him and wasn't. And it's the fact that Colapinto, he was about middle of the road, and then for some reason he just suddenly stops turning. Basically, is Colapinto getting a penalty? I would have to imagine. I haven't seen anything yet, but I should damn well hope he gets a penalty. Currently, they are sweeping the track. Of course, there was a lot of debris. Because Behrman also hit the 100-meter marker board for spoon curve, which kind of blew up, to put it kindly. So currently, our top 10, Gabriel Bortoleto has managed to work his way back into the points amongst all of this. Lawson is 9th, Verstappen 8th, Gasly 7th, Norris 6th, Leclerc 5th, Hamilton 4th, Russell 3rd, Piastri 2nd, and Antonelli 1st. Got to feel bad for Piastri here. Really screwed over by the strategy. He was just really looking for any way of working his way up the order. Bottas has now been allowed to unlap himself. The safety car will be in very soon. Bottas leading on the Cadillac? Not quite. We can pretend. We can pretend, though. A 10-second penalty, but that never does justice. Yeah, I think minimum 10-second penalty. That was insanely dangerous. And I think not only is it insanely dangerous, but it's led to someone getting hurt. Yeah, let's see. Can Piastri have... Because if Piastri wants to win this Grand Prix, he's basically going to have to jump Antonelli on the safety car restart. That's his choice. And basically his only choice. Where can I watch live? You can watch live right here, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are enjoying the stream. If you are enjoying, please do leave us a like and subscribe, and you'll be notified of all of the streams we do across the season. Having a look here, I think we'll get the safety car for one more lap, I think. From the looks of things, yeah, be in by now. So we'll get safety car for probably one more lap. What is Bottas doing? He's unlapping himself. Radio from George Russell. Can you confirm Kimi is going in the place that we trained? What? Can you confirm Kimi is Oh, okay. Confirming that Kimi's going for the safety car restart where they practiced. Ooh, that could jeopardize Piastri for being mugged by Russell off the line, because if Russell knows where Antonelli's going to floor it, then yeah, that's really bad news for Piastri, that they've got an agreed point to floor it. I, Just looking across the field, Lando was going terribly slowly for a minute there. As Lewis has podium chance. We have a high chance if you could speak English correctly. I'm kidding. That was a joke. No, Hamilton, I mean, a safety car ending, just confirming. Hamilton, something would have to go wrong for one of the top three. I see Antonelli, Piastri, and Russell all finishing on the podium. So yeah, safety car will be in at the end of this lap. Piastri has followed Antonelli after a safety car restart. Of course, he did in China, in the China sprint. However, of course, Antonelli was not leading the pack, which means Antonelli did not get to choose where to launch. So if Antonelli's low on battery and Piastri's nailed his recharge, things could go very well for Oscar here. He's going to have to get the move done basically immediately, or he's going to be in a lot of trouble. The hard thing is it came perfectly for Antonelli pit window wise. It like, yeah, it was unfortunate. But yeah, Bottas is basically cooked because he started on the hards. For those who are curious, the safety car is now pulling away. Let's see. When does Antonelli floor it? I don't know. We're approaching 130R now. Antonelli's still wiggling. Waiting to decide when he wants to go for it. He can go anytime he wants to now. Piastri's hanging very close to him. Let's see here. It's not going to be out of 130R. Looks like he's gone for it now. Yes, he has. Let's see. Can Oscar Piastri hang on to him? Oh, it's looking not great for Piastri. Russell looks pretty close to him, but Hamilton looks pretty close to the rear of George Russell. That looks like, yes, it looks like Piastri will be fine down the main straight, but Lewis Hamilton's going for the move on George Russell. Lewis Hamilton's jumped George Russell, and looking further down the order, Pierre Gasly and Max Verstappen are going for it into the first corner. Can Verstappen get it done around the outside? Not quite. Antonelli leads Piastri by 1.2 seconds already. Jesus. That's terrible news for Oscar Piastri and his hopes of winning this Grand Prix. But his hopes of holding onto a podium have been improved by the fact that Lewis Hamilton has managed to jump George Russell off the line. Overtake has been enabled. Max Verstappen still close to the rear of Gasly. Looking further down, Stroll, Alonso, and Bottas. Stroll, Alonso on mediums. Yes, they're doing a two-stop then. Yes. Or maybe they don't think they'll last long enough to again. Looking here, Hamilton's pretty close to the rear of Piastri. Piastri could be under a bit of pressure here. He's not careful, but yeah, Piastri's 1.6 seconds off Antonelli now. That's terrible luck for Piastri. Antonelli's Russell's under a bit of pressure from Leclerc now. Ocon's now gotten the move on Bortoletto up to P10. Let's see. Can Leclerc possibly jump the Mercedes of George Russell into 130R? Lando's not far behind any of them either, so keep an eye on him. Charles Leclerc, no, he's not close enough right now. As we go back down the main straight, it's going to be a miracle. Bortoletto actually gets back past Ocon, fighting for 10th place, trying to score as many points as they can. Of course, Ocon yet to score points this season. Piastri's actually under pressure from Lewis Hamilton. 3/10 is the gap into the first corner. He holds on to it, however. Looking further down the order, Ocon gets back past Bortoletto. I'd love to watch it scrap, but they refuse to show it to me because they hate me. Antonelli's, that's the fastest lap of the race, a 33.649. Yeah, bye-bye Oscar Grand Prix win. Not happening. Oscar Piastri P2, though, I could see that happening. I'd still say that's definitely on the cards, especially now with the other Mercedes, with George Russell being jumped by Lewis Hamilton off the line. She's going to have to work a miracle, really, to close up to Antonelli at this stage. Hulkenberg's now past Bortoletto. Bortoletto seems to have lost out battery-wise a fair bit in that fight with Ocon, who's now holding on to P10. Things are calming down a little bit. Gasly's probably hating this safety car because of the fact it means he's lost that nice gap he had to Verstappen now. Hamilton's still relatively close to Piastri. So Piastri's going to have to fight for this podium, clearly. Unfortunately, he would have been wanting to fight for the win, but that no longer seems to be on the cards with Antonelli storming away and trusting There aren't any more safety cars. I doubt he'll have to pit again. Verstappen crazy close to the rear of Gasly. Oh, Gasly squeezes him as they approach the Casio triangle. He doesn't quite go for it. Max Verstappen, will he consider it down the main straight? Hadjar gets past Hulkenberg for 12th now as he's starting to work his way up the field. And no, Verstappen is not close enough to Gasly to get that move done. Looking across, Piastri's now 1.9 seconds. Lindblad's now gotten past Hulkenberg. P13. Bortoletto got back past Hulkenberg as well. He's P11. Again, trying to close back in on Hulkenberg. There's P2, P3, P4, P5 are all very close to each other for the minute. So again, this fight is getting pretty spicy. Antonelli still a pretty comfortable gap up the road. Doesn't have anything massive to be concerned about. Impressively, Russell seems to be the one who's struggling the most to hang on to the one in front of him, with Hamilton looking most likely to get an overtake done soon. So Hamilton on Piastri to get an overtake soon. Russell is actually now closing up a little bit. However, Leclerc's also closing up to the rear of him. I'd love to see the gap ahead, but they're not showing it to me because they hate me. That's why. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, Russell's closing in on Hamilton. Hamilton reporting that Piastri keeps going off. Colapinto has been noted for causing the incident between Behrman and himself, which good. Verstappen's pretty close to Gasly this time around. Could Gasly be under pressure this time round? Let's have a look further down the order as Lindblad's tracker is having a moment. Verstappen doesn't go for the move on Gasly, but he's hanging on real tight. Lindblad is definitely P13. I know his time, his things having a bit of a moment. I think Hulkenberg might have actually just gotten that move done on him, though. Yes. Those who've made up the most positions so far, Liam Lawson, P5. And Lance Stroll has an issue. He's in the pits. No further investigation. That is ridiculous. FIA, that is absolutely ridiculous. I'm thoroughly disappointed in the FIA. You just watch someone be forced off the track and possibly break their ankle. And you're not going to investigate whether the person who caused that like, yes, I'm seeing some people using the words I would like to use right now, but I'm avoiding them. That's disgraceful. That is absolutely disgraceful. No penalty for Colapinto. Go to hell, FIA. Yeah, I would tend to agree with that statement. The gap between Antonelli and Piastri is 2.8 seconds now. Antonelli looks to have this one in the bag. Piastri is now opening the gap up on Hamilton. So looks like Piastri should be good for the moment. Bias commentary. No, did you? I was going to say, did you see the replay? But clearly you didn't. I'm blind. I'm deaf. I want to be a race director. Yeah, I'm sure they'd give you the job. But yeah, I don't know what you mean by bias commentary. Just watched one break their ankle, or he severely injured their ankle, looked either twisted or broken on live TV, and you're questioning why I want a penalty for him. I think that's a bit ridiculous to call me biased for that, dare I say. Anyways, back to the podium fight. Hamilton still just barely hanging on to Piastri. The gaps are all kind of opening up a bit. Hadjar's closer to Bortoletto. Of course, Hadjar and Bortoletto both wanting to work their way back up into the points. They deleted my timing board again. Thank you, F1, for that broadcast. I do know that he has injured his ankle pretty severely because he couldn't walk on it. I'm not making that up. So yeah. All right, so I saw him limping. I watched it. You can stop saying that I'm going crazy about his ankle. Is Hamilton doing well? I think Hamilton is doing quite well. Yes, I think Hamilton is doing very well. I must say that. Oh, someone's just cut the chicane ahead of Nico Hulkenberg. Who was that? Too bad they won't show me because I don't have a timing board up. Who's just ahead of Nico Hulkenberg? Isaac Hadjar. Oh no, so that was when he got past Lindblad. That was Hulkenberg passing Lindblad because he cut the chicane and slowed down because of it. He could walk on it at least. He really couldn't walk on it. He really couldn't actually. Um, I really don't think you, like everyone is reporting he limped out of the car and sat down quickly. Yes, that is 100% what happened. I'm not watching the live. I'm not watching timings. I'm watching live pictures. I know what happened. You guys don't have to claim that I'm lying. He definitely is limping, and it was definitely his ankle. Had to get support to walk. It's not Colapinto's fault. Colapinto forced him onto the grass. It is 100% Colapinto's fault. Um, yes. Anyways, back to what's happening in the race. Oscar Piastri now 4 seconds off. Looks like he probably won't be in for the win anymore, which is unfortunate for him. Hamilton now under pressure from George Russell, who's closing a lot. Hadjar's very close to the rebuttal letter. He could get that move done soon. Leclerc still staying in touch with George Russell, but not quite. Let's see here. Does Hadjar doesn't quite go for the move. I must say Hadjar will probably struggle to get past here because I wouldn't say the pace between the Audi um and the Red Bull are about the same. No broken bones. Do we have confirmation that there are no broken bones? Because until then, um, I wouldn't put it past him to find out that there is some serious damage to his ankle. Piastri's Australian Minister of Defence. I mean, he definitely was with George Russell, but unfortunately, he's been put in a bit of a position where he can unfortunately no longer. Colapinto is good, but Colapinto can't check his mirrors because he's not that good. The gap between Piastri and Hamilton's closed up again a little bit. Having a look. Norris is really dropping off. Good Lord, Norris is really not in this fight at all. That's a bit rough for him. Stroll retired his car. Yes, I know. I did say that when he pulled into the pits with an issue. How's Behrman? I do not know. It was Hadjar further down into the Casio triangle, not quite on Bortoletto. How's Behrman? He wasn't good the last time I saw him. I trust he's being checked over by the medical team who are at the track. Hadjar again closing on Bortoletto down the main straight. Does he go for the move? He has a look up the inside. He doesn't go for it though. It's going to take some balls to get a move done into there, and Hadjar not quite close enough. Gap out ahead is now 4.7 seconds, 4.8 now between Piastri and Antonelli. A terrible luck for Piastri. Who do I think will win? It's dude. Someone's pulling out nearly 3/10 a lap on second place every lap. It's probably going to be that guy. All about the cars now. George Russell's in the fastest car this weekend, and he's currently sat P4 behind Lewis Hamilton and Oscar Piastri. And Oscar Piastri was set to win this Grand Prix until the pit strategy. This Grand Prix was won on strategy, not by pace. So yeah. It's not all about the cars. The cars help, as there's a reason that the top six are a pretty comfortable gap ahead of everyone else. I say that, but Norris's gap to Leclerc is bigger than Gasly's gap to Norris. So currently the top five are comfortably ahead of everyone else. We look at George Russell, who's closing up on Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton goes defensive into the first corner, doesn't quite get the move done. Or Hadjar and Bortoletto were side by side through Casio. Bortoletto again, brilliant defense. Ocon now gets the move done on Lawson, or is that Lawson's transponder failing? It's Lawson's transponder failing. Lawson, I believe, is still P9. Hadjar getting very close. He's looking for it around the outside of the first corner. Does he get it done? Hadjar does get it done. Isaac Hadjar back into the points, past Gabriel Bortoleto in what was a mighty move after a multiple lap fight. Yep, and the timing. I confirmed no broken ankle. That is good to hear. That is good to hear. Of course, I'm not able to check these things whilst commentating, so thank you for letting me know that he's not. Why is Lando so slow? Lack of track time this weekend. I would put that up. So the gap now is 5.4 seconds, and Hamilton is dropping off to Piastri a fair bit. So Piastri looking pretty comfortable in P2, but something's going to have to go pretty well. Hang on. Why is Hadjar 11th? I missed something there. Was Hadjar? Oh no, Hadjar wasn't fighting for 10th. Goodness me. I apologize. It's been a long day. Just looking here off the rear of Lewis Hamilton's wing, George Russell's fairly close again. Will he be able to get the move done this time? Yeah, Russell's closing pretty quickly. He goes defensive on George Russell. George Russell doesn't have a look. Leclerc's still hanging on. Norris, I can't quite say the same. Nico Hulkenberg's fairly close to the rear of his teammate, Gabriel Bortoleto. Of course, Hulkenberg starting where he currently is in P13. His teammate starting P9 is having a rough race. Piastri can win if only. Piastri is 6 seconds down on Antonelli over the span of about 10 laps. I don't think he's winning this Grand Prix. I've got some bad news. Currently, Piastri finishing P2 will be reliant on Lewis Hamilton's ability to hold up George Russell, really. Because I think Piastri's got a comfortable advantage over the Ferraris. I don't think he's got to be concerned about them, but the Mercedes of George Russell is definitely his biggest concern. So as long as Hamilton can continue to hold up George Russell whilst Piastri continues to walk away. Oh, what's happened to George Russell? Charles Leclerc has just swept past George. What just happened there? What happened to George? Charles has just swept past him in the spoon. George has lost so much time. What on earth happened there? Did I miss something? What? Okay, well, anyways, George is down to P5 now. Piastri's probably set for a podium. Charles Leclerc now up to P4 is going to be defending for his life against George Russell for the position he's basically just been gifted. Ocon's close to the rear of Lawson to P9. He'll be looking to try to get that move done. Let's see. Lawson's opening the gap up again after the Casio triangle. Looking further down the order, Hulkenberg and Bortoleto are close to each other. Yeah, no idea what happened to George there. I don't think he battery, I'm assuming, is what the issue was. He just had no speed into spoon. Can the run up to it? Leclerc just mugged him basically. I was really confused when I saw two Ferraris with no Mercedes between them. But yeah, wow, okay, that was an odd one. A member for 54 months. Grash, thank you so much. I've ripped my bingo card because of you, George. That's fair enough. Let me see. How's my bingo card doing? Piastri, yeah, that's pretty solid. Oliver Behrman, not quite so solid. And then they removed the timing board, so I can't check everyone else. Thank you, FIA. You're really, really helping. I think a replay here is George Russell. What on earth? He just ran. It's like he genuinely actually just run out of power. And speaking of running out of power, not really, but Charles Leclerc is now very close to the rear of Lewis Hamilton. So Hamilton is going to have to be wise of him. But yes. Oh, there we go. The timing board's back. I can go back to what I was saying. So Piastri, yeah, that's going to score me a fair few points. Hadjar, that's not going to score me a lot. Bortoleto and Hulkenberg, that's not. Hulkenberg will score all right, but Bortoleto won't, and Behrman's not going to be good at all. So yeah, my team's being carried by Oscar Piastri right now. Speaking of the Audis, Hulkenberg has just gotten past past Gabriel Bortoleto, sorry. Here again, Russell's now closed up on the rear of Charles Leclerc. This is probably my biggest complaint with the battery stuff is that gaps are so inconsistent. Like George is right on the rear of Charles now. But Leclerc was right on the rear of Hamilton, and it was 8 tenths off. That's the sort of stuff that I'm not a massive fan of. Gap out ahead, 7.5 seconds. I would imagine that gap will only grow. It's because currently Antonelli will be taking the lead in the championship, which will be massive for him. We'll look here. George, 0.8 seconds off. He probably won't get a move done this lap. Leclerc only 0.5 seconds off Hamilton now. He's closing, considering a move. Well, they're very close to Casio. It's 0.4 seconds now, but it opens up to 0.6 off the exit. Did he use too much trying to close that gap up? Really, the best fight is between third, fourth, fifth right now across the field, so that's rather exciting. Lewis Hamilton hangs on to P3 for the minute. The gap between him and his teammate is 0.3 seconds. I knew we'd see some Ferraris fighting at some stage, and we're going to get to see it now. Hamilton in third and Leclerc in fourth. We'll see Stappen still hanging onto the rear of Gasly, but nothing crazy is happening there. Ocon's hanging onto is still within a second of Lawson. Bortoletto's within a second of Hulkenberg, and Lindblad's within a second of Bortoletto. But beyond there, the field calms down a little bit, to put it simply. As Kimi Antonelli sets a fastest lap of the race of a 32.731. Looking for that fight for P3. Leclerc is now 0.6 seconds off as they head through the hairpin. Russell's just waiting. Russell's been struggling for pace. He might actually be struggling to get past. Kimi's on another track. Basically, he's 8 seconds up the road now from Oscar Piastri. But the big fight is for this fight for the podium. Leclerc saying we are losing a bit of time for info. I don't know if that's him asking to be allowed past Hamilton or whether that's a Oh, hang on, he's insanely close. Hamilton was terribly slow through 130R. Leclerc had to look through Casio, but he didn't go for it. Will Leclerc have enough speed down this straight to get the move done? Hamilton moves across to go defensive. Leclerc's closing very quickly. He has a look around the outside. They sweep into the first corner. He doesn't go for it. They stay as they are. Hamilton third, Leclerc fourth, Russell fifth. Leclerc's still very close to him. There's only 3 tenths between the two of them. He's sniffing his butt right now, that's for sure. Norris is closing in because of all this fighting as well, and so is George Russell, now only 5 tenths off the rear of Leclerc. Leclerc, I would imagine, getting pretty stressful about the fact that George Russell is behind him, of course. What positions the Ferrari finish in is pretty important. Oh, Charles Leclerc. Oh, George Russell just had a look into the first Degner. That's insane. No one ever goes for a move through there. That would have been insane stuff. Everyone is desperate to try to get past each other at this stage. Looking across the field. Alonso's pitted twice. I didn't even notice. Wow. He's P19 for those who are fans of Aston Martin. Looking out further up the field. Antonelli's on 18 lap out hards. Piastri's on 22 lap out hard. So it's not even like Piastri has like a tire advantage. Anything. He has a tire deficit. That's why I don't see Piastri winning. It's 9.1 seconds now, the gap. Piastri had one opportunity. Oh, and speaking of opportunity, Charles Leclerc looks around the outside of Casio. Oh, they're so close to touching wheels. And George Russell has dropped it back a bit, actually, from all of this fighting. Leclerc struggling out of the final corner. Will he have enough to try to go for a move? Hamilton moves over to go defensive. Charles Leclerc pulls out. Charles Leclerc sweeping around the outside. Has he gotten the move done? Or Hamilton's trying to stick his nose in. They're nearly wheel to wheel, and Charles Leclerc has gotten the position. Charles Leclerc is up to P3. Lewis Hamilton down to P4, and George Russell now on the rear of them. And Lando Norris has now caught this battling trio, make it a battling quartet. Piastri 2.5 seconds down the road from all of them. A reminder, the driver of the day vote is coming up soon, so I would recommend you have a look at that as soon as possible, as George Russell is very close to the rear of Lewis Hamilton, as the is already pulling away. Driver of the day of Oscar Piastri or Antonelli for me. Lawson's also a decent pick. Lawson, Verstappen, Piastri, and Antonelli have been the drivers to impress me the most so far. I thought Antonelli was waving his arm around. No, he was taking a tear off. Imagine Hamilton will probably be wanting to try to get past Leclerc again as quickly as he can. But yes, we now have a four-way fight for P3. Leclerc leading Hamilton, Russell, Norris. The drivers out front are looking pretty comfortable for the minute, which is good. Piastri, of course, trying to make up for substantially lost points over the past 2 weekends. We see here George Russell's closing on the rear of Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton goes defensive. George Russell looks to get the move done around the outside. Can Lewis Hamilton keep his nose in? I don't think he quite can. No, George Russell is up to P4. Lewis Hamilton is down to P5. Have a look. Norris is still hanging on to this fighting group after struggling with pace earlier on. The gap out ahead is now 10 seconds. Antonelli leads the Grand Prix by 10.4 seconds. And now Russell is a second off Charles Leclerc. Hamilton still within a second of Russell, and Norris within a second of Hamilton. Norris is the next one to line up a move on Lewis Hamilton, who 2 laps ago was in a podium position, but it's now unfortunately dropped to P5. Shout out to Pierre Gasly, who's currently holding off Max Verstappen, trying to finish P7. We'll look further down the order. Hulkenberg is closing on Hadjar, and Ocon still hanging onto the rear of Lawson. The gap between Verstappen and Lawson's rather large. Third largest gap of all. The largest gap is Alonso to Perez, Perez to Albon. Then it is Lawson to Verstappen, and then it is the gap out in front as Antonelli pops another fastest lap. The gap is now 11 seconds. He sets a 32.538. As we look here, Norris or Russell, hang on. Russell's closing on Leclerc a fair bit into the first corner. That could have been close, but he hangs on to it. Hulkenberg's looking pretty close to Hadjar. He might go from move into the first corner if he's got enough left in the tank. They're fighting for P11 currently. Hulkenberg still gets scoring any points this season. He's hanging pretty close to Hadjar. Can he get them moved on into the first corner? Not quite. They stay line of stern. As we look here at that podium fight, Russell close to Leclerc. Hamilton's definitely dropping off. It's only slight, but I'm seeing what I believe are raindrops on Norris's visor. I don't think it's anything crazy. Hang on a second. It's not raining, is it? Oh, surely not. Yeah. Not sure what that was. Thought I saw some liquid across the T-cam of George Russell. The gap is now a second between Leclerc and Russell. Norris closing in, try to finish P5 this weekend would be pretty decent for him. Is it raining? No radars about rain. Okay, so might just be like tiny specks. But Verstappen's very close to the rear of Gasly through the Casio triangle. Would he look for a move? The gap between Leclerc and Russell's pretty tight. Let's see, is Verstappen going to go for it? Don't think he is. No, he's not quite close enough. He's closing nonetheless. He's closing nonetheless. We see a replay here. Lewis Hamilton's on board. Something go wrong for him? Oh, we had a big old lockup into the Casio triangle on that past run through it. Not what he wants, considering that Lando Norris is hunting him down. The gap out in front is now 12 seconds between Antonelli and Piastri. Radio from Norris here. Norris saying that Hamilton needs to give the position because of that lockup he had. I don't think he has to give the position. I think that's a bit excessive. But yes, that is something that he has requested, and I would imagine the team will be requesting on his behalf. The gap between Leclerc and Russell is 0.6 seconds. Hamilton has been noted for leaving the track and gaining an advantage on Lando Norris in turn 16. We'll keep an eye on that as Hulkenberg gets the move down on Hadjar. Why am I being shown that? Goodness me. Apologies, everyone. Nico Hulkenberg up to P11. I think that would be spoon curve looking at all the gaps. So that's pretty respectable from him. The gap between Piastri and Leclerc is closing up a little bit, but Piastri is still looking pretty good. The gap between Leclerc and Russell's 0.4 seconds, and Hadjar gets the move back done on Hulkenberg for P11. Now they're finally showing us what's happening. Ocon gets past, or is that Lawson's thing having an issue? Yeah, it's Lawson's thing having an issue. Toletto is closing. Also, Hulkenberg's closing on Hadjar. Can Hulkenberg go for the move? Hadjar goes to the defensive. Hulkenberg still goes to the inside nonetheless. They're fighting through the first corner. Don't know why they're not showing this on the main feed. It's not like there's any fighting happening anywhere else. Not quite for Hulkenberg and Hadjar through the S's. Albon's into the pits. Albon's into the pits. I wonder if that's an issue because that's an unscheduled pit stop for him. Just a reminder, driver of the day vote will be wrapping up soon. So, and confirmation of the ranking so far. Piastri is 23%, Antonelli 18%, Leclerc 12%. I think that's all fair enough, honestly. Leclerc's driving a pretty good race, P5 to P3. Piastri's gone P3 to P2, Antonelli, of course, P1 to P1, but it wasn't quite that straightforward. And he's delivering brilliant race pace. His race pace is easily the best of anyone out there. Russell just doesn't have it, because if Russell did have it, he'd be past Leclerc by now. Speaking of passing Leclerc, he's mighty close into the first corner. Norris 0.3 seconds off Hamilton, desperately trying to get into that P5. And score another 2 points. And it'll be 10, which will be 25 points to him, because, of course, the fight between Piastri and Norris in the championship, I imagine, will be fairly spicy. Norris has gotten an early lead because of those starting issues for Piastri, but Piastri so far seems to be the faster of the two. Hulkenberg now gets past Hadjar. Again, I don't know why they're not showing this to us. Go complain to the people to F1 TV, because this is a bit disappointing. So yes, Hulkenberg now up to P11, 4 seconds off the point, so he's going to have to work some magic to try to catch Esteban Ocon. He does have a 4-lap tyre advantage. Seeing Behrman here walking around in his garage, which is good to see that he's able to walk comfortably, which should mean he'll be all right. I believe Albon is retiring from the Grand Prix, as I'd like to think he'd have left the pits by now. Norris is very close to Hamilton. Speaking of close, Russell is very close to Leclerc for that podium, as Norris has now gone straight up the inside of Lewis Hamilton into the Casio triangle for P5. Lando Norris up to P5. Does Lewis Hamilton have enough to come back at him? It looks like he might. Lando Norris doesn't go defensive. Lewis Hamilton goes for it. And no further investigation for Lewis Hamilton for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. Lewis Hamilton, speaking of, gets that position straight back. P5 for Lewis Hamilton, P6 for Lando Norris. Verstappen still yet to get past Pierre Gasly for P7, really struggling out there in that Red Bull. Red Bull collectively P8 and P12. We see a replay on board for Lando Norris, gaining massively through 130R as he moves to the inside, doesn't wait. Basically, on the exit of 130R, he gets the move done. And then he loses it back again because he didn't quite have enough. The gap out front looks to have stabilized at around 13 seconds, which I guess is good for Piastri in some way. Russell that's Antonelli. That's Russell lapping. I would assume Valtteri Bottas. No, Albon's gone back out on a set of soft tires. I don't know why he spent so long in the pit lane. That was a bit odd. I don't think he got any damage. Did Sergio swear? I apologize, everyone. We're going to get a Russell dive bomb. Well, the gap's 0.8 seconds, so it's not quite close enough even for a dive bomb. So it'll take up a bit. Oh, Albon's back into the pits. That's not good. Antonelli told that we just need to look after the car and bring it home. Verstappen has gotten the move on Gasly. Why the hell are they not showing this to me? I'm so sorry that I'm not telling you as it's happening. Max Verstappen has gotten past Pierre Gasly for P7. Brilliant moves from Max Verstappen. He's driving splendidly. Oh, Gasly's gotten him back, though. Can we now actually see the fight, or is it just going to keep happening on a timing board? Who knows? Very exciting stuff. The gap between Leclerc and Russell is 0.6 seconds right now. Don't know why they're just showing these two following line and stone when we've got people overtaking further down the field. It's a bit of a shame, but I don't control what I get to see, unfortunately. So, yes, brilliant news for Gasly. He's held on to that position. George Russell still hanging on close, trying desperately to get past Charles Leclerc. Yes, I would imagine Antonelli's been told to back off because they don't want him pushing quite so hard and possibly risking some engine issue, because that would be terrible for Antonelli at this stage of the season. Yes, who's looking forward to the first Mercedes not 1-2 of the season? That's going to be fun. Still Mercedes engine 1-2. But we win some, we lose some. We look, George Russell closing, doesn't think about it in Casio. Current driver of the day split, and Piastri 26%, Antonelli 19%, Charles Leclerc 12%. 4 laps to go, people. We're on lap 50. Does George Russell go for the move on Charles Leclerc into the first corner? You kind of have to if you want to try to hold onto a position, because otherwise they'll get you back down the main straight. Gasly still holding on to that P7 that he lost briefly to Max Verstappen. Okay, so I fear Antonelli was told to back off, and he just set the fastest lap of the race of a 32.432. The gap out ahead now 13.6 seconds. Antonelli has zero chill. He's fighting for this championship. And also, I'm assuming Alex Albon's out of the Grand Prix. He's still in the pits. Haven't seen any reports on that, however. Norris has closed back up on Hamilton after dropping off a bit. Russell very much still in the hunt for a podium here. After starting on the front row, he lost out pretty badly early on, and due to the safety car, similarly to Piastri. Piastri would have been hard pushed to hold on to the position, but he could have tried. This is all because of the fact that Franco Colapinto can't look in his damn mirrors, and no one's talking me out of it. You see here the gap between Leclerc and Russell approaching 130R, 0.7 seconds. Gap between Hamilton and Norris, who are 4.4 seconds down the road from them, is 0.7 seconds. Top speed of anyone so far. Sorry, George Russell is going for the move. George Russell dives up the inside into the chicane and gets the move done on Charles Leclerc. As Norris further down gets the move done on Hamilton through what I think would be 130R. Does Charles Leclerc have enough to come back at George Russell for a podium position? He's closing. George Russell goes defensive. Charles Leclerc looks to go around the outside of the first corner. Charles Leclerc takes back P3. They're fighting like there's no tomorrow. As we look as Lewis Hamilton does the same thing to Lando Norris into the first corner. Lewis Hamilton determined to hold on to this P5 position. Despite the fact we've got insane overtakes, everything stays as it is. This is mental stuff all the way down the field from P1 to P6. They're fighting like there's no time. I mean, not really P1 and P2, but P3, 4, 5, 6 fighting like there's no tomorrow. As we look there, further cars being lapped. Albon's apparently back out on track. Not quite sure what he's doing. Way down the field now with his teammate in P15. Having a look here, other moves that may happen very soon. Verstappen on Gasly. Ocon's dropped off Lawson, but Ocon should be safe in the points, despite the fact that Hulkenberg's been gaining on him. I think he's going to run out of laps. Norris has dropped off from Hamilton a bit after getting the move done back on him. As we're reaching an Aston Martin, it would be Fernando Alonso, as Albon is in the pits again. Charles Leclerc is going to hope to sweep past Fernando Alonso, the new father, which should protect him from George Russell into the Casio Triangle. Lando Norris is gaining through 130R. Will he be close enough to get the move done into the Casio Triangle, or will he bide his time? No, he's not. He's going straight for it. Lando Norris up the inside for P5. He gets the move done, but will he just lose it straight away like he did last time? Or does he have enough in the bank to not lose out to Lewis Hamilton this time? As we look on board with Lando Norris, I don't know why not Lewis Hamilton. I'd love to see that angle instead. Lando Norris has held on to it. Lando Norris has held on to P5. Finally, he's gotten past Lewis Hamilton. The two champions going at it as Charles Leclerc continues to hold on to P3 ahead of George Russell. I would imagine Norris will likely now escape up the road a bit from Lewis Hamilton, as Norris does seem to have a more pace in comparison. As we see a checkered flag waver, Jack Black getting ready as we are on the penultimate lap, lap 52. 14.2 seconds is the gap that Antonelli leads by. Things will have to go horrendously wrong for him to not take his second Grand Prix win of the year and the championship lead. George Russell currently P4, desperately trying to get past Charles Leclerc, who's holding on to a podium for dear life. Verstappen still close to Gasly in P7. Hulkenberg still closing on Ocon at a rate of knots. Colapinto closing on P15. Carlos Sainz going to try to hold on to that again. George Russell goes for a look into the Casio triangle. He's not close enough. Charles Leclerc holds on to it. We are on to the final lap, ladies and gentlemen. The final lap of the Japanese Grand Prix this year. Antonelli leads by 14.4 seconds from Oscar Piastri. And Charles Leclerc still in P3 for the minute, but George Russell is going to try to change something about that. He's 0.6 seconds off so far. Antonelli just coasting out there. Still opening the gap, no less. The gap between Mercedes and McLaren is still pretty big, clearly. Piastri's been having a brilliant drive. It's hard to fault him for anything he's done so far. He's driven perfectly. He nailed the start. But the fact that Antonelli has had such a horrendous start and managed to claw his way back really just says a lot about how fast this car is and how well he's able to drive it. George Russell hasn't been able to recover that. I would imagine Russell will probably be saving up to go for a move into the Casio triangle. Hamilton's 1.4 seconds off Norris now. Antonelli now exits Spoon Curve for the final time. He will be taking the championship lead today. It's insane that he's done it. No one thought he may even touch the championship this season. Antonelli's not waiting around. He's taking the championship lead from his teammate. Kimi Antonelli through the final corner. He crosses the line to win the Japanese Grand Prix. His second Grand Prix win and the championship lead. I look further down the field. Is he close enough? No, George Russell's not close enough. Oscar Piastri will come across the line to get his first Grand Prix start and finish of the season. 13.7 seconds off the lead. Leclerc holds on to P3 by 0.4 seconds. Max Verstappen's closing on Gasly massively. Is he going to go through it? Oh, not quite. Then basically line and stern through the final corner. Verstappen doesn't quite have enough. Pierre Gasly will hang on to P7. Verstappen P8. Lawson 17.6 seconds down the road. I would imagine come across the road in P9. Ocon is close, however. He'll have to be careful. I'm trying to look at the gap. It's staying pretty stable. Lawson should be okay. Antonelli, your Grand Prix winner. Lawson crosses the line. Ocon scores his first points of the season. Hulkenberg gets another P11 to score points. 2 P11s in a row. Hadjar 12th. Bortoletto 13th. Lindblad 14th. Sainz 15th. Colapinto 16th. Perez 17th. Alonso 18th. Bottas 19th. Albon 20th. And Stroll and Behrman do not finish. Fernando Alonso finished a Grand Prix. That's insane stuff. Yeah, wow. Antonelli leads the championship. Hulk is Mr. P11. It would appear so, yes. This was beyond boring. I don't know what you're on about. That was pretty entertaining. We saw collisions. We're not collisions. We saw crashes. We saw overtakes. If you didn't enjoy that, tough luck. I feel bad for. I must say, I do feel a bit bad for Piastri. He could have at least fought for the win. Yeah. I was still P2. Shoots him pretty far up in the championship. He's 21 points overall. He had 3 points prior to this. 8 out of 10 race, yeah. I'd say 7 out of 8, 10. Driver of the day goes to Oscar Piastri. Very well deserved. He drove a brilliant race. Could have won the Grand Prix if it weren't for the poorly timed safety car. He won 27% of the vote. Of course, congratulations again, Aston Martin finishing the Grand Prix. Our new championship leader is Kimi Antonelli. Looking at a replay here of Lando v Lewis. Yes, Lando went up the inside of 130 yard. That's pretty impressive. And also seeing a replay here of Lewis's sweep around the outside of Lando into turn one, giving Kimi Räikkönen 2005 on Giancarlo Fisichella. Yeah, and the first race where we have not had both Mercedes on the podium. Very well driven from Charles Leclerc as well, P4 to P3. Why not Max Verstappen? I didn't vote, so I don't control these things. Max did drive a brilliant race, P11 to P8. Lawson also did quite well to get into the points where I think it was P13. Nearly forgot where he was starting. But yes, your race winner and world championship leader, and now the youngest driver to ever lead the Drivers' Championship at 19 years of age and 216 days. Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Championship fight is on. Well, I'm probably going to wrap it up there. It's been an absolute pleasure commentating the past two races for you. I do have bad news for those who enjoy my commentary. You will not hear from me a while because all the European races are at start at 9 p.m. or at best start at, like, I think Hungary and Baku start at 9 and go to 11. Most of them are 11 to 1 p.m. races, or 1 a.m. races, sorry for me. So I will not be commentating those. Hopefully you'll hear me when we go to Singapore. Yes. Enjoy the short break we get. Antonelli hitting the Usain Bolt pose, getting very excited. Yeah, wow. It's been a pleasure, everyone. I will see you whenever I get back in the commentary box. Ciao.